What's up YouTube, Mad76 here. I thought I'd bring you along to one of my adventures today. I'm off for a solo wild camp at the north part of Dartmoor, just below Oakhampton and in the Belstone area. So I've just walked my first hill now up onto the moor. There's a little bit of wind coming from behind the camera, so I hope you can hear me okay. The sun is glorious right at this time. I left it all grey and cloudy at home, and then as I drove down and down and down on the M5 today, it just slowly progressively got brighter and brighter, so winning. So the original plan was for me and Hal to come up wild camping tonight. However, he's had to bail on me due to work commitments, which is really unfortunate. However, if I'm honest, he probably wouldn't get a look in anyway tonight talking to me, because I've just bought a new tent, which is the MSR Hubba NX1, and I really want to get to play with it tonight. I've also got another new piece of kit tonight, which, as you'll see on my backpack, and I'm sure it's been in other shots, is the Thermarest copy, which is half the price and is made by a brand called Lomo, which specialises in sort of outdoor wet gear, mostly around water sports. I've got a few bits of their pieces already. This thing came up on Amazon for about 19 quid, half the price, and I think it's about an inch wider than the Thermarest. So I'm looking forward to using that tonight. I thought I'd bring it along for a bit of comfort. Give back some of Okay, so the camera fell over that point. So before I start my journey today, I want to give a massive shout out and thanks to you guys. I'm just blown away with how many videos and hours that have been watched, and just the time you guys have taken to watch, subscribe and even comment and give me a message. So thank you so much. That's pretty much where we started. We've walked across there and all the way up here. So I've now got to negotiate my way up here somehow. From memory, it was the left-hand side we came down last time. However, it could be the right-hand side because we went down to the stone circle. But we'll try here, do a bit of rock hopping, see how we get on. See any problem with climbing up, it's like I've come down to get you guys. It's going to be a mistake opening this because I haven't put it in the right place, and I know this part of Dartmoor is on this side. Okay, so just to give you a bit of background of where we've just come. So we started in Belstone, we've travelled up Watchet Hill, up onto Belstone Common, and this is Belstone Tor now, which I'll do a pan around in a second. And then we're heading off to Oke Tor, which is over the Irishman's Wall. And then we'll carry on, there'll be Winter Tor to our right, a cairn, and then up towards Oke Tor. Now that's kind of the destination I want to get to tonight. It's where I've camped before, so it's familiar ground, and good place to try out my new tent. So as I probably just told you, this is Belstone Tor, and then we're going to head off in a second. I shall show you to the right up into Oke Tor. And there's Belstone Tor in all its glory. Now I don't know if you'll see this on the silhouette of the Tor. There's some locals up there. They've been shouting a sweet little message to me. Can't quite make out what it was. It's almost near the top. We'll climb over this ridge and hopefully see Oke Tor. So I just met three really nice older chaps. They've been out for a walk all day. They're just telling me that this whole area has been covered in a really dense mist all day until about 2 o'clock. So I'm really blessed coming here with almost clear blue skies. They tell me they've just walked literally the whole circumference of this area that I'm in. So that's like Road Tor up to Yes Tor, High Willys down to Dingo Tor, and then all the way back round Hangstone up over the top. And then I've just seen them up here pretty much at Belstone. So they're heading back. I think they're going to get themselves a nice pint. Just as I'm keeping filming, this is the Irishman's Wall. It goes from side to side of this this hill, passing these tors. And this is a great view when you come over here. Now I don't know how well this camera will pick this up, but this tor here, really beautiful, just slap bang in the middle. It's nice to get high on top of that one. And that little blip here, that's where we're heading to tonight. So good old trek over there. So this is Higher Tor. I've just walked past. It's a pretty old tor. It's got a nice slope all the way to the top, which you can get to easier on the other side. Remarkable. So that's our destination ahead of us. It looks minuscule from here, but as soon as we get close you can see the scale of it. So we're going to walk this track now across the ridge to our destination. So it's almost 5:30 now. I spent a lot of time just taking videos, taking photos, doing the usual thing, so it's taken me a lot longer to get to Oke Tor today. Appreciate the sun is really bright, and a lot of my filming has probably been capturing some of that in one of the corners, so I apologise if a lot of the video footage today is blown out. And likewise, I'm just using my GoPro with the little foam wind protector on. It might be the same with the wind noise today, so apologies for that, but all in all I think you'll agree that it's still a spectacular view, and I'm just so glad I've come out. It's awesome. Now this is interesting. I don't know what this is. Obviously there's always stone circles and bits and pieces, but you know, who knows what this actually is. I have to look it up. And in saying that, they're markers, or boundary markers I'm guessing, for Belstone boundary, possibly BB, Okehampton. And that makes sense when you look at the OS maps to the actual boundaries, and likewise with the military maps. I feel a bit of a wally now saying it was a stone circle. What I haven't told you guys today is the actual weight of my backpack today. I think it weighed in around 13.6 or 7, 13.6 I think it was in the end, and that's with all the consumables of water, food, and I think my base weight was around about 11. So it's coming down. Last time it was 14 or just over 14. I'm not bringing my chair this time, which was 800 grams. So that's a good weight saving. However, I think the new tent has maybe 100 grams more weight than the previous tent. And I'm also bringing this big thermal sleep mat, sleep mat, that's the one. This big sleep mat which compared to the silver foil thing I usually use, there's about 300 grams difference in that as well in weight. So I've shaved some weight off, but I've also gained some weight, and it's all a big game, as you guys know. So close to Oke Tor now, you can almost smell it. I'll be home for the night, so not far at all to go now. Hopefully I've got my little sheltered spot just up there I can tuck my tent into, stay away from this breeze which is coming from the right of the screen, and keep us nice and sheltered for the night. The only drawback is it's in the shade, so we're going to miss the sunset and the warmth of the sunset, but we'll see the sunrise. Here it is. So this is exactly where I stayed last time with Hal, almost 1 year ago. Thank you, heckler. So I'll just quickly go over my new tent. So I've got the MSR Hubba NX1. I've once again put it into its own dry bag. This time it's a little bit more packed, or a little bit more compact, but both the inner and the outer are in there. It's got a bigger fly sheet than the Belstone Kit Soloist. Holes on the outside of my bag, footprint and pegs in the front mesh part. So that's how I packed it again. I'm a little bit sad because I brought the actual bag for it as well, so I could put it in there and show you guys, but I'll set it up shortly. Okay, so that's me set up in my new tent. Got lots of things to sort out now. One thing I have noticed on this tent is there's no cord on this back piece, so I'm going to have to makeshift with an elastic band, just a little cord just to keep this fly off the inner, because that is definitely not touching the floor and a peg won't do that. So I brought extra pegs because I wasn't confident with the MSR ones, and there are only 9 pegs. So I also brought my Oke Kit ones. So my intention is to buy new pegs, probably the Y branded, like the Y style ones, just to give myself a bit more flexibility, because I don't really like those needle ones that MSR have provided. I'm going to get set up now. The wind's coming from this direction, which is not ideal. I would have preferred it coming more there, but I've got a bit of shelter here. I've got room to cook if I need to cook in here. However, I've got the nature's table, as I call it, out there, and it's sheltered. So you would have seen that on my old channel, Mads Adams, from one of my previous wild camping trips. But anyway, this is Mads 76, so you're in the right place, so stay tuned. Do not adjust that dial. Electrics, GoPro stuff, my food. I can't remember what's in this one. My Rab jacket and not the Decathlon one. I'll explain later why. And also a fleece. This is my warm gear. I've had to bring 2 gas canisters this time because both of these are almost on their way out, and both of them probably give me just enough cook time to cook my meal tonight and have a brew. I'm going to have a brew shortly. In my thermal cup is a can of beer. What else is in here? Here's my brew kit, or my cook kit. Thermals for the night. There we go. Sleeping mat, so Sept Summit Sleep Mat, and this Lomo one. My long-handled spoon. Long-handled spoon. That's pretty much my bag emptied. So my intention is to leave that in the porch tonight. I know there's a lot of wind coming here, so I've got to be careful it doesn't get wet. So I brought just a black bag. I'm going to put it in to make sure it stays dry, because I don't want that getting wet, because it's just going to add weight to my lift, to my trip home. Sleeping bag. I've got the sleeping bag out. So my last video I did, the sleep system part, unfortunately didn't record. My GoPro had a bit of a moment. This is my sleeping bag. It's compressed as small as it can go. It weighs 1,700 grams, so 1.7 kilograms, which is very, very heavy. So my intention is to obviously try and replace this with a lighter bag. It is a synthetic bag, and it is a... I can't remember what it is. I know it's a Chrysalis 3. I'll come back to you on this sleeping bag. So anyway, this is my sleeping bag, and it's in a waterproof event bag. One thing I forgot to mention is my pillow. So my Mammoth air pillow I have replaced today for a bit of comfort, which is the Trekology pillow. The only reason being is I've never used this in a wild camping situation. It weighs 3 times as much as my Mammoth one, and it will not go in my sleep mat bag. So I've just stuffed it in here quite loose. It fitted in a pocket, nice and easy. But that's a bit of comfort today, and I just thought I'd try that out for a change. The black bag. So in the brain of my bag, I keep this emergency sole bivvy bag, my med kit, which has also got some pills, some other bits and pieces for walking. The pills I've got in there, the usual sort of paracetamol, ibuprofen, Imodium, just things to tie me by if I need them, just for an overnighter, should be fine. I've also got my hat, my gloves, and my net gaiter. That's pretty much most of the things that I need to show you. Let's get this bag wrapped up. Now I know some people will probably say, why don't you just use your waterproof cover? In my experience, the waterproof cover is really only water resistant, if you're certainly leaving it on the damp ground. So I've got like a little mat that I've brought, this is going to sit on, but obviously plastic is going to definitely keep the water out. And because I'm eco-friendly most of the time, I'll keep this bag and I'll use it over and over again. I'll just leave it in the waterproof cover part of my bag. But today it was a new bag, so that's why it's all folded nice and neat. And that is going to blow around and make a lot of noise in the night, no doubt. Downside. So a bit of MacGyver in today with my thermal cup and the extra or the spare gas canister on top. You notice there's 3 elastic bands on here. What I'm going to do is MacGyver that point out on the back of the tent just to pull it straight and give it a bit of flexibility as well. So watch this space, I'll probably film that as well. Aren't you lucky? This is the back bit I was talking about. It's too high up for a peg, so it needs some kind of guideline on it or something. So what I'm going to do is fashion basically this elastic band and one of the needle MSR pegs and come up with a solution, and I'll come back to it once I've used both hands. So really simple. I've just put that elastic band there, pulled that back bit out, now keeping that fly well away from the inner, and that should do the trick tonight. Time to get a brew on. So it's actually 5 to 7, a lot later than I thought it was going to be. Cheating with the milk this time. Went to a McDonald's of all places and they gave me 3 milk, so I saved 2 of them for a cup of tea that I bought. So this gas canister actually hasn't got much in it, so I'm going to use this one solely for teas and the other one for cooking later. So as always, I'm using the BRS 3000 stove just because it's so lightweight, and as you would have seen in a previous video, maybe one that was on my old channel as opposed to this channel, I did a video on BREW KIT and explained why I've got this and all the reasons why my little BREW KIT is so small. So good measure to always use just the water you need is to actually fill up your cup first with how much tea you want. In this case, let's get it going. I think that's a fair amount. So about that much water. Then I can put that into my titanium cup and I shall boil that, and it's got a quicker boil time as well. And that brew is almost done. Now I like my tea strong, so I've come up with this little solution to save the milk. Got one of these little clips, and I'm hoping this does the trick so I can use that again in the morning. This is going to be a pain, but I've put it in the rubbish bag that's in the tent. So I got my brew on, and I'm going to have a track bar with that. And like I said, I've got that rubbish to put somewhere. So my little wild camping hack is always take a Ziploc bag for rubbish. I use this bag multiple times. You can see it's quite well used, but it's really good just to take your trash out with you. So I actually ended up using all that milk, and there's that little plastic top of it. And then lastly the tea bag, squeeze some of the moisture out, and that can go in there as well. So with the tent all zipped up in a minute, I'm going to go and enjoy my brew, my chocky bar or my trek bar, whatever it is, in the joy of the sun just before it goes. So over this side of the Tor, in the wind, I shall show you what it looks like. So whilst my dinner is cooking, I guess I should do a few quick pieces to the camera before I lose all this light. I've kind of been thinking long and hard about this, but kind of wanted to give you a sort of idea of how I got into this wild camping malarkey, really, because back in the day I used to watch YouTube sporadically, and I discovered a chap called Dean Reed. Give me a second. So I got to change the gas canister, but the stove is too hot to change at the moment. So basically what I was trying to say is what got me into this this wild camping game was watching a lot of YouTube videos quite a few years ago. I discovered a chap called Dean Reed, and I was really interested in the content he put out and the quality, really. So that sort of sparked my interest even more so into camping, because I've done camping for years. I used to go surfing at Croyd and Woolacombe like pretty much every set of days off that I had. Spent a lot of time down there. It was probably about 15 years ago or so. Had really good times. So yeah, so Dean Reed was one of those people out there. I then started watching other people similar to him, and I always felt the video quality was never quite as good as his. So big ups to Dean there. Now, over the years, obviously, I finally took the jump, subscribed to a lot of channels, something I wasn't doing before. I'd just go on and look for Dean previously. I discovered the Wiltshire man, Sir Sandy, and the people he does his videos on. I love Sandy to bits, and he's an awesome character. He wears his heart on his sleeve, and it is what it is. I totally enjoy watching his videos. Somebody else I discovered, which was Trev and Nath of Summit or Nothing, and the affiliation there has grown and grown and grown. It's really nice that Trevor is such a personable person who reaches out to his subscribers and quite happily chats to people. So Summit or Nothing was definitely one of those channels that I was really engaged with, basically because it's honest, budget, it's filmed really well, and they just put a lot of time and effort into their stuff. I was really sad to see Nathan pull out last year or the year before last and stop making and creating with Trevor, but ultimately I think the channel's come on leaps and bounds. They've just hit their 10,000, so really good stuff. Other people I've watched, Paul Messner, you know, Dan Becker in the States, and a whole host of other people. What I probably will do is just list a lot of the people I fanboy to on my subscription. Really enjoying my recent discovery, that's within the last year, of Border Rambler. I've always watched Andy Wardle and All About the Views, so I love their videos, and I quite like the fact that they don't disclose where they're going these days. It's a little tip of the hat. What else is there? You know, I could probably rattle off loads and loads of names. You know, 101 Wild Camper. There is a chap, and I can't think of his name right now. Northern chap, youngish, tattoos, beard. He was going through a bit of a hard time, but I really enjoyed his videos. They were really entertaining, really educational, and he's just kind of disappeared. Now, I know he had some stuff going on in his family life. I think he was looking after his brother at one point. I can't remember the exact details, but another great YouTuber, so I'd love to see him return. But like I say, I'll put a list together, you know, the people I really admire and look up to, and all of those people collectively have got me to step in front of the camera and do these videos now. So that's why I've set up this channel, really, just to level peg with them, you know, butt heads and share ideas and share knowledge and learn stuff. So hopefully I can pass some of that back to you guys. So as you can see, I'm enthusiastic about it, and this bit's waffled on. So anyway, I better start cooking again and change this gas canister. Over and out. Olive oil. So checking out all this gear and stuff. Not yet inflated my my mat, and that's purely because I'm using this Lomo Thermal foam pad. It's just a bit more robust, and I thought I could move around a bit more on it. I'm always wary of getting a puncture on this, moving around too much, bringing things in and out. So I'll inflate that just before bedtime. It only takes 6 pumps. And yeah, so that's my plan with that. Tonight I said I was going to use my Trekology pillow, so I'm going to inflate that shortly. This is instead of that Mammoth air pillow, which I really do rate. I've had it for years, but the size that it goes down to is awesome. But yeah, so this Trekology pillow is going to be my pillow tonight. I'm really surprised at how warm I actually am at the moment. Now I know I've just come indoors and it's what 9 o'clock pretty much, but That wind's dropped, there's a high cloud, and yeah, it's just an awesome experience. All I can hear at the moment is the bugs on the outside trying to get in. We've got all those little crane flies, but yeah, I'll bring you back shortly. Okay, so it's almost 10 o'clock now. Definitely the air temperature's just dropping a little bit, so it's time to get really ready for bed, I think. Had my last wee of the night, and yeah, just do that and then get settled down nice and warm. Already wrapped my legs up in the sleeping bag, but I've got to say, generally it is warm in here. You can just feel that little bit of air temperature dropping though, so time to pack up and yeah, off to bed. See you in the morning. So one thing I didn't try or didn't think through is how I was going to inflate this when I'm trapped in the coffin shape, but I think I've sussed it. But as you can see, it's quite tight. Good morning. Not the best of sleeps. Homemade earplugs last night because someone forgot to pack them along with their toothbrush. It's the one last thing I kept going back to get, and I kept forgetting it. I needed it last night. Little bits and pieces. Really silent night last night, no wind. And then this morning it's pretty gusty out there the second, so sunrise is in about 20 minutes. I don't think we're going to see any sunrise. I'd imagine it's quite claggy out there, but I'll come back to you with a bit more of a film. See you soon. Now, I think that was probably the worst sleep I've had camping for a long time, so really couldn't nod off last night. In the distance I could hear the military doing their test. We're talking some distance away, but that noise was travelling around all the tors. I could hear gunfire and shouting, which is quite unnerving. It sounded like gangs of guys which were quite close, but clearly they weren't, because I know which area they were practicing in. But yeah, so most of the night snoozed, woken up, snoozed, woken up, just because it was so deathly silent. Yeah, that was my sleep last night. It was also really hot in here. I couldn't get that fine balance between the temperature of my sleeping bag, so too cold with my arms out and too hot with my arms in. So hey, it's a good place to be in, I guess, if you're warm, so that's winning. Yeah. That's me all packed up now for the day. It's probably about 8 o'clock, I guess. And as always, leave no trace. There's a lot of mist this morning, not much visibility. I'll just follow the natural track up to the big Tors and then back down to Belstone. Awesome. So at the moment we've got a bit of damp coming in. I don't know if that's the cloud or if it's a bit of drizzle. Definitely makes it a bit more interesting with this walk, certainly as we're getting a bit higher up here. Ho hum. So just as the rain's setting in, I just want to give a shout out to my Norwegian friend Isak. He's been quite an inspiration, me starting this channel. He's always there giving me a little bit of feedback. He's a content creator himself, and it's really nice to know I've got supporting friends. So thank you very much, Isak. This one's for you. This is the Dartmoor I always thought I'd be up on, which is hard visibility. As you can see, this cloud and clag has really kicked in now. Thankfully the paths are pretty straightforward, so I know my way home, and yeah, all good really. So I'm not sure what's entirely happened, but it looks like I've gone down further to the right than I needed to after the last tour. So I'm doing a bit of Dartmoor hopping at the moment, going alongside the back of this Tor that's just behind me, trying to get back up onto the brow so I can drop down to the right place. Otherwise I've got to go all the way down into the valley and then back through the long way. So I don't really want to do that. I know where my van's parked, so we'll carry on this way. Now this is exactly what I wanted to see, so I'm glad I've made this detour, albeit a bit of rock hopping, a bit of Dartmoor bog, but we're here, and hopefully this will drop down to the place where I need to get to. If there wasn't a detour, an adventure! So one little last bit, I mentioned why I didn't bring my decathlon down jacket, and that was purely because my rab felt that much thicker. It looked like it had more down to weight, and when I actually weighed the two jackets, yeah, my rab was a little bit heavier, but I knew it was reliable, and I thought it was going to be a really cold night. So I'm a bit gutted I didn't bring the decathlon to try it out, but seeing as I was going solo, I just thought, why not bring my rab? I'm familiar with that. But next time I will use that decathlon. So good morning YouTube. First of all, I'd just like to say thank you for watching my video today. It's been quite an adventure. Highlights really are using my new tent, the general walk out there on my own, solo wild camping. Really enjoyed it. I'm back in the van now. I've just put some warmer clothes on because my clothes were quite damp from the sweat from walking back and also all of that rain. So I'm going to get myself a little bit of biltong for breakfast, have a drink, and then I'll be heading home. So as always, I've been Mad76. Thank you so much for watching this video today. If you like what you see, by all means subscribe, hit the like button, or give me a comment below. I'll see you shortly. I've got plenty of videos to be making, so all the best. Ciao for now.